Alrighty, guys, we are back from a little break. Got ourselves some Spencer Trappist ale. This stuff is really pretty. Kind of a slightly hazy, nice caramel color.
And that being said, a lot of the Belgian beers, Trappist beers, Abbey beers that you come across, a lot of that is going to be an unfiltered beer. You'll see a pretty substantial amount of haze in it, traditionally speaking. And it does just that gorgeous kind of orangish, hay-colored. Yeah, just a beautiful beer.
Oh man, that smells really good too.
Yeah, you instantly get, right on the aroma, you instantly get the phenolics of that Belgian yeast in there for sure. Almost a little bite like an orange peel, lemon peel kind of bite.
It's like a marmalade or something.
Yeah, definitely like kind of like an orange marmalade aroma to it. And just a really nice, consistent, cream-colored head on it. I believe that the head on a beer is a huge part of the experience of drinking a beer, and it presents beautifully.
And then I've never had this before. This is a first for me. Oh wow, that's good.
Oh, it's so interesting too, because I get a lot of the phenolics on the aroma, and then the esters really come through on the flavor profile of it. So for the listeners who don't know what I'm referring to, the phenolics are going to be a little bit more of the kind of herbal and spicy characteristics that you get from the yeast. And then the esters, just another compound given off by yeast, is going to be a little bit more of the kind of fruity character that you get. And this, you just get the esters right on the nose and then fades beautifully over into those nice, fruity Belgian yeast esters in there.
And esters are actually, there is usually no fruit involved. It's just whatever the yeast does, it makes a compound and it gives you kind of a fruit-like notes to it. There's no actual fruit.
Yep, 100%. And it's kind of the same idea as when you drink like a Hefeweizen or something.
Banana.
Yep, the banana. Hefeweizens aren't brewed with bananas. It's just the ester from the yeast production gives it that character. And yeah, this one is just
I get that with this a lot. There's definitely, it's the orangish taste to it.
A lot of orange yeast ester going on in there. And really well balanced. It has bitterness. It has noticeable bitterness. However, it's not like drinking an IPA bitterness. It's just enough that you know it's there.
It's really smooth. Like when you look at a beer like this and then you see that haziness, you kind of I do. I think to IPA and I think to bitter and I think to, this isn't the case. It's got kind of a spice kick.
Yep.
And then it smooths out really well. And then you get with that estery and the nose on it.
And it finishes those esters, those kind of orangey flavored, orange marmalade flavored esters, give it a little bit of a sweet midpoint to it. And then it just finishes off nice and crisp and dry. It's not overly sweet. It's not cloying at all. You just get a little bit of that orange sweetness in the middle and then a nice, dry, crisp finish on it.
I think I may have to order some more of this stuff.
I can recognize that it took them quite a few batches before they pinpoint where this was, and they finally said, hey, this is perfect. This is what we want to release.
Yeah.
Because it is very, very well done. I think the alcohol content, it's a very, very sweet spot. It's not necessarily a session beer that you're going to sit down and drink 10 or 15 of. It's something you can sit down. It has a lot of character. You can appreciate the character it has. It's also not 10% and going to ruin your day.
Right. Yep. It's in that middle ground. It's 6.5, so it's more than a session, but not quite like a heavy hitter. So
And, and just my personal opinion and my personal taste, I really consider that anywhere between 6 and 7% in my mind is really the sweet spot for beer. It's got some alcohol character to it, but it's not overpowering.
And then we do have some more. We got a Pilsner, we got the Vit, and then we have another darker ale, but we'll be doing a segment on those a little later on. I'm really excited to try the other ones.
And I am kind of curious. I'm going to see if I can pinpoint based on the bottle here. Yeah, it does appear to be a bottle-conditioned beer. So carbonation being done in the bottle itself. When the beer goes into the bottle, it still has some live yeast in there and a little bit of residual sugar. That yeast eats up that sugar and gives it its own natural carbonation. And I was guessing it had that nice bottle-conditioned carbonation character just from drinking it. And you can see on the bottom of the bottle that it does have just the faintest little bit of residual yeast hanging out on the bottom down there. And for those of you who haven't had a bottle-conditioned beer, I highly recommend seeking one out because it is a very different mouthfeel and carbonation than a forced carbonated beer on just CO2 gas. It's smoother. It's still crisp, but it's just so much smoother and
it's a noticeable difference.
Absolutely.
I don't want to say it packs a punch, but there's something there that you taste, and it's like it'd be kind of like the difference between a flat beer and a carbonated beer. It's just there's just that subtle difference there that forces that flavor and all that extra aroma into you, and this is really good.
And it maintains so well. I found that a lot of the bottle conditioned beer I've had, it just maintains its head and maintains its carbonation so well. A little bit of agitation, and it's just got that nice, perfect white foam sitting on top again.
I don't think the camera is going to be able to pick this up, but
yeah, you really need like the perfect light, but you can see just that little bit of residual yeast in there. And anytime I see that in a bottle, that's a good sign to me. I know that it's going to be a bottle conditioned beer with that really, a little bit heavier, creamier carbonation to it. And especially corked up with a champagne cork really keeps everything inside and the way it should be.
Just when you pour it,
yes,
you can kind of see that it's not quite mixed up, or there's like that little subtle carryover almost.
Yep. And again, it just, that beautiful head on there. Yeah, and you can almost see, I'm not sure if the camera will be able to tell, but obviously you kind of got the last pour of the beer, and it does, darken up just a little bit as you start to pick up a little bit more of that yeast from the bottom of the bottle. And for those of you looking to go out and try a bottle-conditioned beer, don't be afraid of that little bit of yeast dregs hanging out in the bottom of there. A lot of the times when I drink a bottle-conditioned beer, before I give the last pour, I'll just give the bottle a little bit of a swirl and agitate that yeast up into suspension, and it really contributes a nice, pleasing profile to the beer when you drink it.
Yes, definitely. Don't look at the beer and say, "Oh, there's stuff at the bottom. That's gross." No. That's good that it's there. It helps with this.
On a bottle-conditioned beer, you want that there. It's awesome.
I want a candle of this. Like, honestly, I would have a bean pod candle of this, I think.
Yeah, I think one of the most amazing things to me on this beer is that the aroma and flavor profile are so different. They're coming from the same thing, but you just get it's like you're drinking two different beers. The one you get on the nose, on the bouquet, and then the one that hits your palate. And that's the subtlety and the nuance that I was talking about earlier, that it is just, I love finding that in a beer. It's nothing that's overpowering, that's punching you in the face. It's subtle, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot of character. There's a lot to look for.
And that's why I enjoy doing this show, because beer is so much more than just something you take out of the fridge while watching a movie. There's so many beautiful artistic things about beer. You get all the different styles and all the different methods, and then the history, and interesting shoot-offs like this with monks making beer. It's like there's a massive world out there, and you can take a moment, sit back and learn a bit about it and try some different things, learn about it. Then you learn how to taste, and you learn how to look, and you learn how to experience. It's such a wonderful thing.
And in my opinion, one of the best ways to experience the big, beautiful world that we live in is drinking it.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that, that's a good point to end on. So we'll continue drinking our beers, and you guys continue listening, please, and trying new things, expanding your horizons, visiting breweries, going to your liquor store, wherever. If you find something different, looks different, give it a shot. You're only out a few bucks. So until next time,
cheers.
Cheers.